Hello everybody. Welcome to our panel on Rethinking Web3 Learning. It's going to be about Solana developers, vibe coders, and everyone in between. Today's topic is very close to our home because just recently we've finished our first bootcamp at New Niviam, and we are joined here today with incredible experts in Solana education and in Web3 education in general. Let's say hello to Gibi Bo, to Artem Mighty Study from Mighty Academy, and Andrew from Kumeka Team from Super Team Ukraine. Guy, you've helped shape Solana's education ecosystem and taught dozens, if not hundreds, of developers. Can you tell us briefly about what you do at Solana and how you're connected to education?
Yes, for sure. So I was always, in the realm of education, even before joining the Solana Foundation. So I did created a few courses. I used also to work on doing corporate education before when I was working at Vercel. So I joined especially the foundation to foster the whole education ecosystem. So even if I do teach myself a little bit, my role is mostly on creating a healthy education ecosystem, from engaging to universities, blockchain clubs, to helping in-person education, self-paced platforms. So it's all about, ensuring that the ecosystem is self-sustainable. We have a saying at Solana Foundation to say that we're working ourselves out of a job every year. So we try to ensure we create things in a way where we're not the bottleneck, but in case we're just here to foster. So that's a bit my daily. I meet with a lot of cool people who are educating, and I try to give them resources to help them make their jobs easier.
Yes, I love that saying about education. Yeah, we do kind of create new experts. And also, yeah, with the materials we provide and resources we build. And speaking about building, Artem from Mighty Academy is doing something really incredible and something cool with gamified incentivized learning. Artem, could you share a bit about your platform, about yourself, and what kinds of learners you see most? What makes your approach so cool and different?
Cool. Yeah, so I'm Art from Mighty, and in general, we build game Web3 education systems. So we provide a platform where anyone, students on one side and teachers slash protocols slash business on the other side, can construct proper educational incentive systems. So it comes to two parts, so with content and incentives. So it's kind of, you can think of it as like Duolingo plus questing service. Like every project in Web3 space builds onboarding programs like DeFi protocols, layer ones, layer twos, infrastructure projects, RWAs, NFTs. I can go on and on. Even games, they all build their own onboarding, and we help with this on one side, and for like on another side, we incentivize students to learn about them. Yeah, and the main difference between what we are doing and what like most other onboarding programs are doing is that we are focusing on actual quality educations, not on like only tasks. Our difference is like we understand the psychology behind like sustainability of user motivation and how to create real long-lasting user motivation, not just like throwing tokens at people and hope they stick around. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Artem. I love what you do with motivating the learners to do to learn more without like extrinsic rewards. And I also know that what developers want most of all, sometimes at least, is to build an actual product. And I know that Anton from Kumeka Team is running a Solana scaling project that actually helps developers move to MVPs and create products, which is a kind of an accelerator product program. So, Anton, could you tell us a bit about yourself and what does Kumeka focus on? How do you help developers grow from these first lines of code to actual startups?
Yeah, hi guys. It's Andrew, not Anton. But Yeah, that's okay. That's okay.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it should be fun. It's like we talk about learning, so it has to be fun, right? Yeah. So basically, at Kumeka Team, as you know, like we are talking about Solana, so probably everybody knows what super teams are doing. Like, right, we are like trying to create to help people learn, earn, and build. Right. So in Kumeka, we are trying to organize also educational programs for students and developers like we had like a few or 6 weeks long online boot camps on how to set up your first smart contract. So Solana with people from Anza and lots of people that and lots of builders that are being built on Solana right now. Also, we are having like series, trying to like compile a series of workshops that help builders to start from the idea framework of a startup, like what are you trying to build here, like basically, and ending with like how are you pitching your idea to the VCs and get the first funding for the startup. It's basically all we want from our builders is so like at the end of the day they could become like leaders and founders and or somewhere in between. Yeah, and that's where we started also the acceleration program where like we don't just show them like the courses they can like run through them, but like actually like great biz devs and marketers are working with projects directly like online. Unfortunately, lots of Ukrainian projects are like all over the world basically, so like online format is more suitable for us at this rate. Yes, so they are actually working with them with real use cases and shaping them in order for them to become like a real deal. Like that's what we're trying to do.
Thank you so much, Andrew, and sorry about your name again.
Yeah, all good. All good.
All good, yeah. So you can see that only in this call with 4 different projects, we already have at least 4 different learning programs. And this is what a lot of Web3 developers sometimes complain about, actually, that Web3 learning is very fragmented and that Web3 learning sometimes even feels like a scavenger hunt across different platforms, across YouTube, Discord, different courses, different tutorials. I'd like to address this question to everybody and start with Guy. Guy, do you think that Solana should take this in their own hands, at least with Solana courses and Solana-related courses, and kind of build a Web3 101, Solana 101 course, and maybe even instruct future instructors and maybe have them pass certificates as Solana instructors so that they can pass on Solana knowledge in a more centralized and structured way?
To me, there's always a hard balance to keep between making sure, first of all, the benefits of centralized content is likely you will have quality, but you will also lose out about all the personalization that some instructors can give. And the ecosystem being decentralized on its own, it is hard to keep a list of learnings because everything moves so fast. So I would say that I prefer to lead by example and give resources for instructors than to centralize it and certify instructors, mostly because in the end, this ecosystem is built by the community, and there will be people who come up with a lot of creativity in how they teach. So I prefer not to stifle this kind of innovation and decentralization, but instead I prefer to raise the bar. So I prefer to put the spotlight on the best education platforms. I prefer to give resources for people to get started. And I understand for the point of view of users, it is hard to start. So this is why we still have some resources. For example, on the solana.com website, we have a learn section, which is mostly jargon free for people to get started, not technically, but to first learn, what is a wallet, what is a transfer. So I think we need to service everybody. So this is why in the end, centralized content will be hard to keep because there's a need that is so different across the ecosystem.
Yes, Andrew, Artem, what do you think? Will it remove the Web3 freedom spirit?
Can I go on it? Yeah, I think actually doesn't really remove Web3 freedom spirit. This is the part where we actually have like a solid, coherent problem to solve, and centralized organizations done in a centralized way are like primed to solve it first. We can like definitely decentralize some of it separate, like after we solve the problem at hand. I actually want to like mentally separate the Web3 learning into two parts here. Like the first part is content layer, and the second part is incentive layer. So from the content layer, I'm actually convinced that like in a few, maybe 1 year, maybe a few years, it's going to be like ruled by AI in some fashion. And like basically we need like a centralized place where like one hub where Web2 newbie can go and like go down the curated rabbit hole. So like you start with just like I want to learn Solana, and that's the only thing I enter to the AI, and then it will give me like 10 lessons tailored towards my personal understanding, towards my like level, etc., etc. So this is like kind of centralized solution. We just need to unify everything together, and AI is perfect for that. So I'm convinced that the solution for fragmentation issue is going to be somewhat related to AI, and that's fine, like to be centralized, I believe. Like especially at this stage, maybe later when we will come up with some decentralized AI, like I've been just seeing Balaji talking about that like a week ago. We can do that part, but let's solve the first issue at hand, and it's like educating users about the blockchains first. And the second part is actually incentive layer, and this is actually the part that we actually shape and design using blockchain. So this is like closer to the builder side of things, and actually here we need unified standards and like interconnected reward systems. This is I believe like very important from that layer. So interoperability infra, where we can like have unified standard for badges, certificates, and everything adopted by everyone, and like easily implemented on like an infrastructure layer. This is what we need from there. It has to be somewhat decentralized to begin with. So on that part, I would say do like semi-centralized and ship it as fast as possible. We already have some solutions, and like we will see. And by nature, like when we iterate in that space of like incentives, we need to keep some parts centralized. We need to keep centralized teams. We need to iterate really fast. We need to optimize for delivery speed as well, and test the hypothesis, like tailoring our products towards what works, and not what we think will work, which is a bit different. Yeah, and both of them are going to be pretty centralized, and it's fine, in my opinion. And when we solve problems at hand, we'll decentralize them. Yeah.
So it's more about fixing the fragmentation of blockchains rather than fragmentation of learning courses and learning paths.
It's both. It's both. Like we can unify all the data and we can unify the incentive systems together, and it's just two different problems that we need to solve separately. And all of them are kind of centralized in the beginning, going to be inevitably just by how the market like determines it to be, because it's not really up to us. It's up to builders, and the builders are going to build it centralized in the beginning. And then if they need to decentralize some parts of the stack, if there is like a pressuring need, then they will decentralize.
What do you think, Andrew?
Like I'm thinking that it's would be great to have like probably a centralized platform with some community-driven open source curriculums, but with a clear structure and with somebody that manages it. So basically, you know how like we've been talking, and I just remembered like the old Microsoft Office, and they have like this paper clip that was like popping up and asking what you want to know, like. And what I'm thinking about the Web3 and Web3 one-on-one is that it would be great to have like, so you're just writing, I want to learn about Solana, and basically like, for example, some like paperclip sliding into you and saying, hey, what do you actually know, like asking basic questions, and that structures the courses for you and describing like what, like after this course, what will and why do you need to learn this before the next one, so you would see like clearly, like, and these courses can be like open wide, like community written and etc. So the community can be involved in this education. Yeah, but if it's been structured and incentivized, that it would be like just a top notch, you know.
And I think that we're all maybe talking about a similar thing here about that structuring education is good, but still there has to be a lot of community input there. And about structured paths, I wanted to ask Artem. Mighty Academy is very focused on creating these structured, gamified paths for different projects. And I was wondering, what do you think works best when trying to teach complex blockchain concepts to beginners? And can you make difficult material, such as Solana development, as fun and addictive as a computer game?
Yeah, I think in general there is like, this question is a bit twofold. I want to answer like in general and in like in particular as well. So in general, I think that gamification of education is something that we as human beings do naturally, and I think that like even if you look at like ancient Greece, for example, you will see that like Greeks used the word "skola," which is like school, to it's actually meant leisure, free time. So like it's very natural to us to gamify learning, all of the learning, and like like the way we operate as human beings, our brains are actually like dopamine loops. And even when we learn, when you see somebody obsessed by learning, you can actually make a case that he's still in that dopamine loop. But this loop is tailored not towards like, I don't know, looking at TikToks, but rather it's tailored towards like building something, getting dopamine out of it, building something, getting dopamine out of it, or like feeling that you have accomplished something and getting dopamine out of it. And this is the learning gaming loop that you have to optimize for. And like, because we are the human beings that we like tailor towards this type of learning, gamification makes total sense within all learning environments. But you just have to be careful into like how you apply it. So there is also like bad sides to it, especially when you start getting monetary rewards into it. This is where it gets tricky. It can really backfire on you if you don't really like do it properly. And like there is like a whole concept called justification, over justification effect. So we had actually like studies even coming like 50 years ago, where people would be given, like two groups of people would be given a puzzle, and one of groups of people will be given a puzzle without any rewards. They just solve a puzzle, and like it's an experiment, and people would be solving a puzzle, and the other group would be given money for solving a puzzle. So when the researchers stepped out of the research room, they found out that people who were not given any money, for example, to solve a puzzle, were actually like continuing playing solving a puzzle. And people who were given money to solve a puzzle would be more prone to stop solving a puzzle and just like not do anything after the experiment is over. And like some of this experiment, they really clearly show that like showing incentives, monetary incentives, can really harm it. In terms of like usual user onboarding, in terms of developers, there is an expectation that you will be rewarded with something after you build something. So that there is like, we already kind of integrated into our system, so everyone gets monetary rewards. But the question is like, how do you balance it out together with intrinsic motivations? So I think, yes, gamification is inevitable in general, but it just really matters how you implement it. I actually gave like an entire speech like in June about how to like properly structure incentives. It's a 25-minute speech. You can go to my pinned to my profile, and yeah, you can check it out fully. Like I literally talk about how to structure incentives in a way that don't destructure long-term retention. Yeah, and in particular, in our cases, where like when we want to integrate gamification into some learning paths that we already have, for example, for Web3 learning paths. Ideally, what should happen is that a person should come to a platform and just like plainly write not even given guided questions at this point, because that's how like Duolingo used to work. It would ask you a lot of questions, right? And then you would have to answer this. It takes like 5 minutes overall. Right now, you just type, I want to become Solana game dev. And it will just give you like 10 lessons, 10 even chapters, because it's game dev, it's a bit more than lessons. So like, and it will give you like structured part from A to Z on how to become a Solana dev from the beginning until the end. And like, yes, you can tailor it towards like infinite complexity of the use cases. Actually, just one thing popped to mind. Like when we actually study the market and study how different developers, how they like study, we say like, what is the medium that you use like usually when you study? And the answer is like 70% YouTube. They're like, okay, we're just taking any input from YouTube. But when we ask like, how do you structure the YouTube videos together? This is where like the answer is, there is no unified answer. So like some people either use like deep search in ChatGPT, but you have to like get a giga query to make it up and running. Some people just like structure, like just randomly go to like YouTube video, from YouTube video to YouTube video. But what we do, for example, what we aim to do in the next update is, I just come to website, I say I want to become a Solana game dev, get 20 YouTube videos plus 100 quizzes plus 100 tasks to like submit this code there, submit like do the task there, and like you have it all together in one place. This is the vision for the next update for us. So far, we kind of structure learning pathways ourselves, and like we lead people towards like general use cases, and then they like specify their use case in between. But this is like suboptimal in a way, because we can shorten this time from the like outcome, the desired outcome, and the actual outcome much more if we do it that way. Yeah. Sorry for a huge rant.
No, thank you so much. And you've touched upon a very important topic for our discussion, which is different mediums, different media for learning, different formats of learning. And this question I wanted to direct to Guy. I wanted to ask, what do you think is the ideal hybrid among these all different formats of learning? In person, online, self-paced, remote, with an instructor or without an instructor? What do you think?
This is a hard question because probably the answer is likely in person, but it's also not a convenient and possible answer for everybody, of course. People are all around the world. Talent is spread out. So you cannot always, there's visa situations sometimes. Not every passport, sadly, is equal. So sometimes you have extremely talented people in parts of the world where they can likely have to wait for 6 months to get their visa approved to go to the in-person instructor. So I would say that's my personal favorite. But then you need to meet the needs. You need to meet the needs of everybody. So I think then some people also, for example, I have ADHD. So myself, I struggle with like a university format where I sit 3 hours with a single teacher. So I do like the bootcamp approach and the gamified approach where you teach me for an hour and then let me ask you questions for the next 3 or 4 hours in Discord. I'll dig deep. So I would say I don't have a satisfying answer because I think you need to meet the needs of everybody. But my own personal favorite would be in person, smaller group, able to really ask a lot of questions, get tactile with the code. But again, I think that's not realistic for everybody. So we have to be everywhere. You have to create all sorts of mediums, meet everybody all over the world, self-pace, cohorts. So everything needs to happen, in my opinion.
Andrew, and do you have a favorite? Have you seen some of these formats perform better for either for the learners or for the project that's launching them?
For me, I would say, sorry, I was just receiving what you said. So, like for us, I would say that Hybrid formats basically works best. Online are for bootcamps because we are all over the world. But if we are talking about the projects, the leaders and the founders, it would great to have like offline touch, because you have like this things that you can just get on the online via the online stuff, right? So when you are talking to the person, when you are like chit-chatting with him and answering his questions and just networking and see if he's suitable, if he has what is need to become like a leader or to create a project and organize people around it. Will he or she will like have the ability to learn and to move forward with it? So like it's like offline stuff is basically a must when we are talking about like helping projects to grow, so you can't just do it without it.
Yes, and speaking about projects grow, you guys at Kumeka work with folks, transitioning them from developers to startup founders. And I was wondering, what are the biggest blockers they face early on? Is it tools? Is it documentation, lack of mentorship, or is it something else?
I would say it's more if it's like it starts from every builder as like that's coming to Solana or trying to create like its own pet projects is always thinking that the idea he had in his head like is the best one and it should win every hackathon, every possible prize. It should get like lots of money and he would be rich in like in a few months. And then when it comes to realities, it doesn't have even a market fit because nobody wants to use it. He like like falling from the sky, crashes, and he has like this depression stuff. It's when he's like, I don't know nothing, I don't need this stuff. Why did I even begin? And you have to. So basically, the first thing first, like you have to know is your project if your idea can be explained in 3 minutes, if it's simple enough, will you have users to use it? Have you tried to talk about your idea with others? Because we have people that have been like gathering, like been running with one idea for 5 years and saying it's super great and we should build it, but I'm not telling you everything about it because maybe you want to steal it. And we're always trying to say that idea without there is a realization, it's basically nothing. So you have to learn first. You have to have a team. You should work with the team because you can't like solo devs is great guys. They're super keen to learn more, to know more. But when you have like when you need a branding, when you need a go-to-market strategy, when you need a great pitch, when you have to be a salesman and a builder at the same time, you can be just burnt out in a few months and saying like, "Fuck it, I'm sorry, but I don't want to do this." And that's what are we working at the beginning. So we are just giving them like this. Like a grain of realism that it's like you didn't build yet and it's not like the 100 million idea. You have to work with it and shape it at first, and to do that you have to learn more, you have to get a team, and you have to make like tough decisions. That's like, yeah.
And speaking about teams, in Web3, we have also designers, researchers, product people, a lot of whom are vibe coders. They become vibe coders to launch their own products and to become startups. And what do you think? Should we start to include vibe coders as target audiences in technical education? And how do we go about it? How do we build this learn by doing tracks for non-coders? Guy, what do you think?
I think this is probably in education, the realization that we all have to do is that we used to separate, for example, teaching people about consumer education, right? We used to think people need to be able to onboard, people need to be able to understand transaction fees and so forth, like security. And then we used to teach people, okay, this is how you build in Rust, like a program, like or how you use Neon EVM to write your Solana programs. However, you have a lot of people with a lot of ideas, and these people are actually using the V0s, the cloud code. These people are starting to use, and there's a lot of concepts that often we take for granted that we won't teach them. For example, like a security checklist, like an audit. these are things we don't teach in the consumer aspect of education. And now we have to kind of bridge this gap. But it's hard also if you teach a developer recovery keys, a developer will get bored. So now we have to kind of understand that it's a fluid spectrum and it's not as like they're not easy compartments like they were maybe 6 to 24 months ago. So I think yes, we should start to include education. And I think one of the best ways to do this is to explain difficult computer engineering concepts, computer science concepts, in a way that even if you're not yourself, coding the distributed network, you understand nodes in a network, you understand these concepts. So I'm super curious to see Art, your platform, because I think you're onto something where I need to learn. There's great platforms like Notebook LM by Google, which creates like this podcast where you put in a PDF and you start learning about the podcast. So I think yes, we need to start thinking of these people as full-on builders. Even if the tech is not there yet, for example, I would not encourage you to vibe code like a DeFi smart contract. I think security-wise, I don't know what it will be in 3 to 9 months, but I think we need to get ready for it. So yes, and it's a key part of what I'm starting to try and foster in the ecosystem of education in Solana. But yeah, short answer is yes.
Can I jump in for a second? Like, I think that, like, yeah, like combining the last two questions all together, it's like the gap here, like between getting developers to build something and like building actual apps that we need to, is actually like Vibe Coders is like the final final piece of the puzzle basically here, because it's kind of Vibe Coders, they would like only look at the like thing that is at their hand, like not look at the tech stack, don't care about everything, just do the tasks that are at hand and solve the problem that is at hand. And this is like the main mindset of people who are vibe coding basically. And we need this like from the other side as well, because like devs have like, especially like people who I've talked to in the last few years, when they are just getting onboarded into this business world, they clearly have like lack of business thinking. It has to be like you have to understand the problem that you're solving. You have to be able to construct MVP in a few days, maybe weeks, and use that MVP like semi-working, and that's fine, to validate the user demand. And this is like actually what I see between like a lot of devs not doing. They just build for like 2 months and then it's like ending up as something that's not needed, and they could have done something like much faster, semi-working and validated. So like I think that on one side vibe coders need to be taught a bit more of dev, of course, but devs, they need to be taught startup thinking, they need to be taught prototyping, they need to be taught how to use like tools like Mechanical Turk, for example, to like validate user demand before like actually scaling the apps, before touching optimization at all. You just need to like teach them this. And if you can create this ultra ninja coders that are like super fast at validating actual, like what is actually useful and what is not, then we can actually 1000x whole Solana ecosystem with like 1,000 new innovations like pump up, pump fun on top, like just something cool all the time. When people validate user demand, like it will happen. Yeah, and like actually this is why right now the talk of the town is buildathons, not like hackathons. They even called it something different. Like, so everyone is trying to do buildathons and teach people how to actually verify that what they're building is useful at the same type of funnel as like building the thing. Yeah, and it makes total sense, to be honest. Yeah.
And Artem, if you're building a program for vibe coders on your gamified platform, would you actually separate them from developers and create a separate track for vibe coders, or would it be a vibe coding track for both developers and vibe coders, or how would you go about it?
The way I see it, in like right now, it's like it's not fully like realized yet. But the way I see it is that you should be coming from any level of experience and be able to have like a learning path that is tailored to you. Like except like imagine like I'm coming and saying like, okay, I know a bit of coding, I don't know that. I know a bit of like startup thinking, I don't know that. Can you like make me a path that is suitable for me exactly? And we should be able to provide that on demand within like current specifications towards like any individual developer, and suggest like also like different methods to reach there. So for example, someone will want like video tutorials, or if he wants video tutorials, we'll pressure hard on like looking for information that is video based for that user. If the user is more like I want to read, let him read and stuff like that. Yeah, so like it should be very, very individual. When we talk about like cognitive abilities of different types of users, and we have studied that as well, most of them are visual based learners, but there is a huge chunk of learners who are like readers and audiobooks guys. Like it's just so much, and like I believe that like new technologies like AI will allow us to do that. Yeah, so this is like the perfect world that I've described. Basically, this is how it should be done to actually unify, talking towards like what we were talking before, like to actually unify this fragmented landscape. It should be like that. Yeah.
And it's funny that you're saying that a lot of learners prefer reading, because aren't they just saying that they prefer copy pasting it into an AI tool? Because what I found in the recent bootcamp that we did at Neon is that a lot of developers just copy pasted the tutorial into Claude or ChatGPT or anything else, basically.
Yeah.
And yeah.
That makes total sense, and like the current context is very important. So like for example, what we see like is you should have a data lake where user can choose the context that is tailored to him as fast as possible, and like getting this is the key, as fast as possible. So like you should write as less like as possible, like, and just get there faster, asking like way less questions that you would like constructor prompt to usual ChatGPT. You should like shorten it towards like ideally 1-2 sentences, and like say like I want documentation of that exact like I want a documentation of Neo and VM. I want to build this, right? So you should be able to actually not, ideally not even copy paste it from your like documentation, just like choose it there, and like the data lake automatically takes care of it all, like finds you the relevant context using MCP protocol or something like that, and just gives you spews you a learning path which is tailored towards like on precise data. Yeah.
What do you think, Andrew? Do you think vibe coders are the future target audience of accelerators such as your accelerator as well?
Yeah, definitely. I just want to add to what Arthur said, that also it would be great, to have like I'm just a big fan of like this AI helpers that just popping up, and it would be like super fun when there is like, for example, a guy just copy pasting some tutorial into ChatGPT and pasting it back, and and there is one guy popping up like, did you just copy paste it? And he was like, no, I did. Like, are you lying to me? It's it's like it's on him, it's unconscious. He'll be like, okay, maybe I'll try harder next time. Because when the next time this guy pops up, you're like, oh hell no. Yeah, this is just like a bit of fun. It has to be some fun. Yeah, but yeah, I was just actually, we had a call yesterday with our team, and we also were just talking about that we should include the vibe coders, because these guys, like, at least they can have some great ideas, and they don't think about how hard it's to build them. They just like doing some prompts and learning with them and seeing how to do that. So prompt engineering is the thing we should include in tutorials, or find them like good like prompt engineering tutorials, and yeah, that's why we have like that's why there is lots of AI agents building on. For example, there is Dev AI by a sister that is doing like one-click Solana contract to be deployed on the DevNet and mainnet, basically. So you don't have to fill with this. So you have to just know the prompts. Like there is like a impact project that like doing some like wizard the stuff with prompts, and you can will have your code pretty good, like to start deploying it somewhere. At least this is a start, and they know like where to start it and how to start it. So yeah, web coders is the thing that we will work with, and I think all the super teams know that, and everyone, like every country is at least have or somebody of their builders are developing like platforms to do some web codes prompts and the stuff like that. Yeah.
Thank you. And I wanted to go back a bit to the question that Artem raised a couple of questions before. It was about incentivized learning, and he told us how you should have this balance between what developers expect to get, which is often a monetary reward, and what learners should be learning for, which is just knowledge. And I was wondering, how do you think we should filter for genuine learners versus farmers as projects who make boot camps and learning courses? And have you ever seen extrinsic rewards like monetary rewards backfire? Or do you have maybe stories of someone who went from zero to hero through these extrinsic rewards? And Guy, would you like to start with that?
I find this question when you answer between the Ethereum land versus Solana land to be very different. Just because, in Ethereum, there's a lot of competition between layer twos. So I think you get a lot of this farming happening. I consider us really lucky to be, first of all, a pretty technology feature complete, ecosystem in Solana. Basically, Solana is obviously there's always place for improvements, but I consider it a place where you can truly build pretty much everything you have in mind. So that being said, I think we are also really much an ecosystem where work gets rewarded a lot. So I would say the ecosystem filters out naturally. Obviously, when you give grants, when you give hackathon projects, you will always get some sort of people farming. That this is inevitable. I think it's the nature of monetary rewards, right? Sometimes if you give too much, it attracts people who min-max a lot of their time to submit to hackathons. But I think generally in the ecosystem, because people get behind projects so quickly when their projects are good, when people work in public, I think the ecosystem itself acts as kind of a filter, like a water filter or an air filter for quality. So generally, we get a lot of these, the stickiness will come from hyper engaged users. So I think generally we have good defenses, like natural ecosystem defenses against this, but we're not immune to it, right? Like we will get people spamming hackathons. That's always going to happen. We just have to continue as users of these projects to ensure, are we looking at something of value, or are we looking at something that was farming? But yeah, I don't think there's a way around it, but I think we're doing a good job compared to some other ecosystems.
Andrew, I think you
I was
must
just
have
actually
something to say and some stories.
I was actually thinking that about the stuff that backfired, the incentivize. Do you guys like remember like probably 2020, 2021 when AMAs was a thing, and people were just like, and projects wanted to like share more about itself, and they've been like giving up a huge rewards for the AMA, and that was like, and at probably the first months, people were like super eager to know more about the project, to ask interesting questions, to learn something. But then there was like, boom, I'm a hunter, see the thing now, and we just like running from one Telegram chat to another and just asking like lots of questions, and that was like really really bad because nobody was caring about the projects, just want tokens or money, and that's where like incentivized backfired super badly. And that makes me sad. As for the incentivize, I would say like it's as Gia said, it's farmers, they always be there, so there won't be like a place where you can clean them out for 100%, but it always depends on what probably for the course or for the learning curve, what are you looking in terms of KPIs, and if this is amount of people, then you will have farmers, and you will need to get like probably be incentivized. But if this is like more of a quality, the people that want to learn, right? So you can switch the incentivized to a swag, or just saying there will be a small prize, but they didn't say what it is, like. And badges actually and leaderboards works well like all the time. I don't know. I like everybody loves it, and it's even you can see that even in Discords when like people are just like writing messages and things, they are like on top 5 in the leaderboard, and then get some badges or some additional features as a moderator. And they're like, hey, I like this stuff, I can volunteer for that. So yeah, this should be a thing as well.
I remember I read about Octalis's gamified marketing kind of strategy that said that leaderboards and badges are just the beginning of a gamified strategy. It's not even a strategy at all. It's just something you sprinkle on top of that. And I'm wondering what Artem thinks about that, about leaderboards and badges as a reward, as a motivation.
It's actually, I actually agree with the statement, but not like, it's not a strategy at all, like at all in itself, but it has to be paired with something. But like, if you come to like the most basics of it, what you have to do is like you have external motivation, which is like money, fame, whatever, like external things, and internal motivation, which is like my own satisfaction or like hope of success, something like this, right? And then you need to balance out the extrinsic incentives in a way that don't create too much of external motivation. A bit is okay, but too much of it is not okay. So and then the second thing which you need to do is you need to transfer from extrinsic motivation to intrinsic. So in extrinsic motivation, probably a lot of people start from that point. So like, and it can be like voiced like, I'm coming to this hackathon to get the main prize. So this is extrinsic motivation, right? And what we have to transfer it towards is, I'm coming to this hackathon because my friends come to this hackathon, or even better, I'm coming to this hackathon because I want to, I believe in using Solidity in Rust-based applications because it's easier and it's more recognizable, and then I build on Neo and EVM. And this is like the top level of intrinsic motivation because the person actually believes intrinsically in that technology. He's like on board with it, basically, fully. Or like, I believe ZK Tech is going to be a gold standard of privacy, and therefore I want to build in ZK Test. So the guy, without any incentives, will choose ZK Tech because he really is passionate about it, right? So this is what we need to transfer towards. And like, of course, we are perfect with extrinsic motivation in crypto. We're like literally perfected it. So, but when the extrinsic rewards dry out, your motivation drops below what it was originally, as I said before. So like, and you have to be very careful with it. And like, you have to really avoid, like, I'm not going to be building on that protocol unless you give me bounty. You have to really cultivate that I want to build on that protocol because of reason A, B, C. And this is like very important area to like focus on. Yeah. Like, don't show rewards up front that much, because it will attract like the wrong type of audience. There is even a term called currency distancing. So like in motivational, like incentive structures, which is used, for example, in games a lot. Games never show, like Web2 games, even online games that like a lot of people can earn money on, they never show like dollar value of their things. And this is deliberate because they don't want people to think, oh, I'm going to make money on this game. They don't want people to think that, like, precisely for the reasons of declining motivation. Yeah, and like, there is a lot to it, not only like slapping badges, slapping leaderboards and stuff like that. You have to like basically create a narrative, create an entire like thing that will be placed inside the like onboarder, like person who you are onboarding. Inside his head, you need to place the entire narrative about what we are doing it for, what is the bigger vision, what is the bigger picture. are you building it towards like to get the like for a world to become a better place, for example, right? Like to be a more equitable world, or like give more opportunity to somebody or something like this. And this type of motivation will really create like in our case, like in this topic, developers who actually care about some protocol. I think this is the way forward. Yeah.
I just wanted to add like a few cents for that, and so yeah, I agree with that, and I think like if we are like what we had lack of is that people that are coming to, for example, the boot camps or the workshops, they don't see like a clear like path of what it's going to be for them. And when you're trying to explain to them like, hey, if you like pass this course, it's going to be like a good boost to your like CV, or you will be able to do XYZ on Solana, and basically you can get like hired or create your own project or etc. etc. Then they understand the value. But before that, they're just like, okay, at the bootcamp, what's it for me? Can I like win the money with it, or just I can just and just come and go, like, and that's probably the backbone of the free courses, like people that are not paid for the courses, basically even a dollar, like, because we are doing everything for free because we want people to get this free because we have like the ability to do that. And basically when they don't pay anything for that except for their times, they just, when they get bored, they just leave it, like, and you want them to, and the finish rate is drops, and you're like, why, what's and you're looking for the issues in the course and trying to rebuild it to be like more fun and suitable, but that's probably not even the problem of the course. It's problem of the person that just don't see the clear vision of what's going to bring it to them.
And I know that often retention is higher in the courses where people have to pay for them, or just maybe stake some ETH for a hackathon, and it's also a way to try to keep the developers in the hackathon so that they actually submit their work. Do you think that this option is a good alternative to make paid courses?
Well, actually, in my opinion, in my vision, overall, like for mass adoption, no, because like because we have like free data everywhere, right? Like we have YouTube. You can go and like just get it all on YouTube. Like if you want to compete with it, like you really have to create something with like either free or like freemium, which is like to get them like to get wide adoption of it. But if you want to go deeper, like for dev courses, it's actually a viable option too, like for dev in particular, because it's you have to have like long presence to get actually like a level of education needed to go from like zero to hero in like dev world, and or like in product world, or in like startup product market fit type of knowledge world. It's actually you have to go through many iterations, and for some people it will take years. So like before he can actually get like a product out to the market with like a proper market fit, he can be like a brilliant guy, let's say, like any random builder, right? But he's like 20 and he just needs like 2 years of that experience just to come up with that genius idea and get like first million users on board, right? But it will take 2 years. So it has like, it can be a series of courses. It's not, honestly, it's not even about like paid or not paid. It can be a mixture of both over that learning period, right? And for some people, it's better to have like a guided session with a teacher that they pay, or in some sort of like, or like a mentor who is like texting them from time to time and say like, go there. But most of it will be essentially replaced by AI at some point. Like, and but I think some people will just want human touch. Because it also gives a lot of networking opportunities, which is very important in the space as well. And this is like really the key. And networking is actually one of the good arguments for why that niche will never go away, because of networking, basically. Yeah, so basically you can use a mixture of, for all of the people, it's going to be a mixture. Depends like on the proportions of it, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, or you can like just to add it, or you can do like as Arthur said, a series of courses, like, and the basic one are free. But if you like passing them, you will have like a 99% discount for the advanced level, and you can pay just like $2 and like have like live conversations with mentors and ask questions, but you already like passed the free one by yourself. So you did a good job already, like, and that's just how we incentivize you to move forward, like with the paid. That's good stuff.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, thank you so much. Guy, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think one thing, it's really just on that whole topic. It's one thing for me that what I like when I'm looking at projects for, who to boost more, who to fund more. I like to see, when people are so interested in the topic they're learning that they're kind of continuing the journey on their own after. That's like the part where I know the golden, like, I'm not myself, the best educator, but that's when I see somebody is like truly a good educator, is when you take off the training wheels and these people go and read the GitHub source code of the newest innovation by themselves. So, but doing that is really hard. So I think you guys provided a lot of great ideas and options and a lot of good ways of getting there. But it's such a difficult thing because you cannot replicate the same sauce for everybody. But just love both of your education efforts and thanks for making the ecosystem a great place.
Thank you so much. And I'd like to join Guy in saying thank you all for providing all these insights. I really loved listening to you and talking to you today. And if you guys enjoyed our discussion, please follow the speakers and check out their projects. Mighty Academy is Super Team Ukraine, and of course, Solana Foundation, Solana Developer Resources, and Solana DevRel Guy. Thank you everyone for tuning in. And let's go improve our learning journeys this week.
Yeah, thanks guys. Big love to you all.
Thanks everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thank you guys.
Have a great day.
It was amazing.
Bye.